My name is Ann Tripp. I'm the news director of WBLS. I got into this field because I have always had a hunger for information, and I thought that my people in particular needed more information about what they cared about in their lives. We wanted to know when our young women were missing. We wanted to know when our young men were shot down unarmed. We want to know the story, why this wasn't investigated, why that wasn't investigated. I think that everyone should have information, and everyone should have information about themselves, and I think other communities are served more with information that they care about than we are. I had a big challenge when I entered this particular field because I was a woman, a black woman. So I had to learn to be forceful, I had to learn to push myself in front, and I had to learn not to be ashamed of that. I worked with Isaac Hayes, and before I met him, he was Mr. Hot Buttered Soul in this album that I had. I never knew how he was as a person. Of course, I hoped that he would be nice. But Isaac Hayes became like a big brother to me. He called me Annie Mae, which annoyed me. Because when I would go places, people would go, "Hi, Annie Mae," and I'd say, "That's not my name." When I heard that he had died, I was in my car, and I was on the Bronx River Parkway. I was returning from an appearance that I made up there, and I cried so hard. I had to pull over because my eyes started clouding up. There were two memorable stories for me. One was the Trayvon Martin case, which again, the black press talked about this young man who merely went to the store on a rainy evening getting Skittles and I think some iced tea, Arizona iced tea, and yet he's killed by this ne'er-do-well wannabe police officer, George Zimmerman, who doesn't seem to have been able to do anything else in life and hasn't been able to do anything else in life since. And what was most upsetting to me is that a jury made up primarily of women, white women, actually let this man go when he shot this child for no reason at all. The second story, of course, was one that was very big in New York City, the Central Park jogger case. There are people who feel that perhaps no one listens to the black press but black people. But the white press was also listening, because I was quoted in the New York Times when the question was, why do we care? Why are black journalists not trusting what the police are saying? And it was because there was no evidence. Mayor Bloomberg was trying to get a second term, and he was seeking the black vote. He came to WBLS to talk about what his platform was, and I asked him, by the way, are you going to, if you're reelected, are you going to pay the Central Park jogger young man off? And he danced all around it. He would not answer the case. This is a man who's so well off that he could probably have written them checks from his own bank account. The New York Newsday wrote about it. He wasn't happy about it, but I'm a journalist. I'm supposed to ask those questions. I'm not supposed to kiss up to you. I'm supposed to find out what's going on. You know, the Reverend Al Sharpton has a saying that young people right now are 60% of our present, but 100% of our future. I don't want to be the last soldier on the mountain. I want people to come after me. The way I deliver news is my creation. I wanted to deliver news in a more conversational way. And now you notice that people on other radio stations deliver news the same way, but I was the first. And I'm not bragging, that's just fact. People listen to me because I will ferret out those stories that our community needs to hear about and will not hear about on the major stations until the story gets so big that finally they decide to cover it. There's a story right now in Connecticut, a young lady, she was found dead in her apartment last month. She had gone on an app for a date with an older white man. This white man says, I called 911 because I woke up and her nose, she's bleeding out of her nose and I don't know if she's dead or alive. And he called the authorities. They let him go. They didn't question him as a person of interest. They didn't ask him what happened. One of the police officers, according to her family, said to them, well, he seemed like a nice guy. The police didn't even tell the family that she had died. I read a story about a young black lady. She started to talk about enslavement and how blacks are discriminated against. Anyway, a white girl in class started crying. The black girl was penalized and thrown out of the class because she made the white girl cry. That's the kind of world we live in right now. It's a very scary world. If you are a black journalist who speaks out, you're being targeted. They're looking at things so they can try to get you, so they can intimidate you. And some of these people are very scary because some of these people are, quite frankly, the kind of people that raided the U.S. Capitol last January. They are nuts. It's very upsetting, but I have hope for the future. I have hope for our people, and I want everybody to keep on pushing. Happy, happy Black History Month. There is so much to discover.